Hey guys, it's Jessii Vee, and in today's video I'm talking about the Mothman, and I'm actually so surprised I haven't made a whole video about the Mothman before in my entire career, because this creature is so interesting to me and also so terrifying. And you hear Mothman and you're like, what? He's a big moth, it's not a big deal. No. The images and the experiences are so scary. So we're gonna get into that in just a moment. First, everything in the store is currently 25% off. We have decided to start our sales 1 week early, all the way up until December 2nd. We also have a bunch of new items like our officially licensed Harry Potter products. We have the beautiful snow globe that I am in love with. And we also have these beautiful curio jars filled with the classic Harry Potter pets. So for example, we have Crookshanks, we have Hedwig. I will link those down below. We also have our new gummy bear lights. These are so cool because they light up your room. They come in 4 different colors, but they're also squishy like a gummy bear. One of my favorite items is our new magic snowballs. These are like squishies, but when you squish them, it has a chemical reaction inside of it that makes it turn freezing cold like an actual snowball. So this is what it looks like. It's so cool, and it looks like there's ice in the middle, right? When you squeeze that ice, it turns cold, okay? It's like you just went outside, rolled up a snowball, came inside and started playing with it. So yeah, those are some of the cool new items linked down below. And you may have been looking at my outfit today saying, Jessii, is that the necklace from Titanic? Why, yes it is. I am so excited to announce that our free item of today is the Titanic blue sapphire necklace. So starting now for the next 48 hours while supplies last, if you get anything on our website, you will get a free Titanic necklace. Now, this is absolutely beautiful and the quality of it is amazing. And I also love that you get a little Titanic velvet bag that it comes with. Now, I do have to give a disclaimer that it is costume jewelry. You're not getting a giant diamond, okay? Okay, let's get into today's video talking about the first sightings of the Mothman. The legend of the Mothman began on November 12th of 1966 when a group of 5 grave diggers near Clendenin, West Virginia, spotted something unusual while working in a cemetery. As they were digging, they claimed to see a large winged figure rise silently from the nearby trees and fly over their heads. They described it as having human-like features but with massive wings. The men, all of whom were seasoned workers, were frightened by the sighting and believed it was not an animal but something supernatural. And yes, this sighting was super strange, but it actually didn't make headlines until 3 days later when a much more terrifying encounter took place at Point Pleasant. On the night of November 15th of 1966, 2 young couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Millette, were out driving near an abandoned TNT factory on the outskirts of Point Pleasant. The TNT area was an isolated spot once used to store munitions during World War II, and by the 1960s it had become a favorite gathering spot for local teens. While driving around the factory, the couple suddenly spotted a massive figure standing in the road. They described it as being about 7 feet tall with broad wings folded behind its back and glowing red eyes that shone like headlights. According to their account, the creature took flight and began to pursue their car, easily keeping up with them even as they accelerated to over 100 miles per hour. Could you imagine driving away from something that looks like a giant bat slash moth with glowing red eyes and it keeps up with your car? So obviously the couples were terrified and eventually managed to lose the creature after it veered off course when they were nearing the town. And once back in Point Pleasant, they reported their experience to the local police, who were skeptical but intrigued. The couples were so shaken that their account was taken seriously and they were questioned extensively, and their story made headlines the next day, leading to widespread curiosity and fear in Point Pleasant. And over the following days and weeks, more sightings began to pour in, all describing the same tall figure with glowing red eyes and massive wings, often near the TNT TNT area or in remote parts of the town. A sense of panic and mass hysteria began to take over Point Pleasant. News of the Mothman attracted reporters and paranormal enthusiasts from around the country, and soon the small town was overrun with curiosity seekers hoping to catch a glimpse of the creature. Police and locals even set up search parties in the TNT area and other spots where the Mothman had been reported, but they found nothing except strange tracks and signs of disturbance. So now we have to move on and talk about the Silver Bridge collapse, which you might be wondering, how does a bridge collapse have anything to do with the Mothman? You will find out in just a second. The belief that the Mothman was an omen of disaster took hold after a tragic event that would forever change the town of Point Pleasant. On December 15th of 1967, just over a year after the Mothman sightings began, the Silver Bridge, which connected Point Pleasant to Gallipolis, Ohio, collapsed during rush hour. The bridge had been built in 1928 and carried a heavy load of traffic daily, but that afternoon the structure failed, sending cars and pedestrians plummeting into the icy waters. And actually 46 people lost their lives, which is horrible. And the tragedy just left the town struck. And many locals believed that the Mothman sightings had been a warning of disaster. Some witnesses even claimed to have seen the creature near the bridge in the days leading up to the collapse. So the connection between the Mothman and the Silver Bridge collapse became deeply ingrained in Point Pleasant's lore. And the theory that the Mothman was this harbinger of doom spread and spread, and people began associating the Mothman with tragedies that were happening around the town. Now let's get into some theories about the Mothman. What could he really be? Is there any logical explanation? Some people believe that the Mothman is a cryptid, an undiscovered species with origins in the natural world. Skeptics argue that the creature could have been a large bird such as a sandhill crane or an owl. And sandhill cranes, for instance, have large wingspans and red markings around their eyes, which could have appeared to glow in certain lighting. Another theory is that the Mothman is an extraterrestrial or an interdimensional being. This idea is supported by reports of UFO sightings and strange phenomena around Point Pleasant during the same period as the Mothman sightings. And some skeptics argue that the Mothman sightings were a case of mass hysteria triggered by the initial reports from the Scarberry and Millette couples. Because, you know, Point Pleasant was a small, isolated town, and the story quickly spread, creating a feedback loop where people began to see what they expected or feared. So I don't really know which one to believe. Comment down below if you agree with one of these theories, or maybe you have one of your own. And I also want to know if you guys want me to do more videos on cryptids. Comment which ones you want me to cover down below. I love to do this stuff, obviously. That's why I have a channel. Anyways, so guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, if you want to take advantage of our 25% off sale on our store and get a Titanic necklace, I have linked everything down below. But I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!